Here we've got another knife in for sharpening. This one's another fixed blade, Benchmade 158 CSK 2 Survive knife, I guess they call it. It's a 1095 high carbon steel. Got a Benchmade butterfly, no Balisson logo, but a Benchmade logo. The knife came to me wearing a 6-degree primary bevel on the left hand side and a 6.5 degree primary bevel on the right hand side. It had a little bit of an asymmetrical grind, about 23 degrees on this side, about 24 degrees on this side. Put a 20 degree symmetrical secondary, both left hand and right hand side of the blade. Chose 20 degrees because we're looking to thin out the knife a little bit, and also because it's going to be a kind of a comparative test for the owner. Recently did a 4.1 Survive GSO knife, or a GSO 4.1. Put a 20 degree secondary on that knife, and I think it'll be a real good comparison between the two knives as far as blade geometry is concerned. The GSO, if I remember right, was running about a 5.1 degree primary, and it had about a probably a 3/4 grind on it. This one's about a 5/8 grind. I would say the GSO was also probably about a 1/4 inch narrower than this knife. Spine thickness, I would say the GSO was just a slight bit thicker than what this Benchmade is. During the sharpening process, also put a fire steel notch in the knife, made a nice 90 degree slot in there using the bench press with some sanding drums. Also, when you're fire striking, kind of gives you a locator place for your thumb, as well as when you're gripping the knife, gives you an indexing position on the back of the spine, depending on the type of grip that you're using on the knife. Probably would be nice to see a little bit of a thumb groove, maybe put right in here to kind of get into that kind of a side grip. Again, just as an indexing kind of a thing on the side of the grip. Black rubberized grips, I think Benchmade calls this Santoprene. Not really anything that you can strike back here, and I have no real idea what's going on with the tang of the knife back here. Balance point of the knife appears to be a little bit forward of where your finger would be, so in essence feels a little bit blade heavy on the front side. The GSO knife balanced real nicely right here, but the GSO was also a 4-inch blade. This one's a little bit longer. We'll do some first hand cut tests here, see what kind of cutting we're getting. Oh yeah, I think the owner likes those little curly cues, and look for strictly push cut. See what we got, because the GSO was definitely push cutting. And then see what we get as we get up here to the tip. A little bit of a catch right there, it looks like. Kind of hard to tell on the camera what's going on, but we might do a little bit of stropping on this to see. Maybe felt ever so slightly a little spot right here that maybe I didn't quite 100% apex. I know there's one spot up near the tip, this section in between my two fingernails right here, which is relatively small. It's maybe a 1/16 of an inch where I didn't completely apex the knife. There's a little bit of Benchmade grindos going on in there. So we don't want to take too much material off in the first full sharpening. A couple chop tests. And let's see what we get when we cut cross grain. Start out, see if we can get a push cut on the cross grain. Ooh, not bad. Yep, right there. A little bit of stick on the cross grain, which is pretty typical, unless you take the knife a little bit sharper than what we're doing here for a knife that's going to be batoned. I tend to get a little bit of cross-grained stick sometimes when you're push cutting. Draw cut it all, and they cut right through. I forgot to mention this is 600 grit on the diamond stone. I'm see if I can find that stone for what it's worth. This is 600 220, which seems to be a good general purpose. The 220 on the diamonds does a real nice job of relatively quickly cutting and reprofiling. You know, if you're going from 25 degrees down to 20, there's a fair amount of material on the shoulder that actually has to come off of the knife before you can get down and start working on the secondary. There's a couple high spots on this stone that I'm getting a little bit of grooving in the blade, but as this stone blends in, it's going to smooth out even more. So a little bit of additional stropping on this knife, and it'll be ready to go out and do some testing.